It's Champions League Matchday 7 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with a promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, January the 19th. We are here to put a full stop on the Premier League action, which finished a few hours ago. Before we get back into the Champions League, match day 7, the penultimate match day of this preposterous league phrase takes place on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll have a look at that. Joining me from somewhere in Nottinghamshire is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, what's happening?
Evening. Not a lot happening, really. I've been watching lots of football this afternoon, thawing out on the sofa, having been on the sidelines, grassroots football this morning in freezing cold temperatures, as my team got beat 11-0 today, Malcolm. That was fun. We are scraping the barrel to get a team together at the moment. And then I got a phone call last night saying my star striker had pulled a hammy playing for our Saturday team, so she was unavailable today. Chloe was brought down with a virus. She's an important player for us. We were absolutely up against it today and got an absolute mangling.
We had no football this weekend because all Bob's posh mates are on a school skiing trip from the posh school, so they had to call off both games. There was like 7 or 8 players missing, so no football for us. I am slightly hungover, Barry. I don't know if you can detect it in my gravelly voice, but I went to the pub yesterday straight after the Newcastle-Bournemouth match at about 2 o'clock and stayed there till about midnight. Drank loads of beer and then drank loads of rum on top of all of that. So I didn't get out of bed till about 4 p.m. this afternoon. Slightly tired and emotional. So we'll crack on. Chat is live and kicking. Michael's here. Michael, how you doing? Yes, Michael, we've got the NFL on right now. The Rams and the Eagles have just kicked off. Dallas Goddard over receiving yards. Over 33.5, 35.5, something like that. That's the pick anyway. That's what we're sweating out now. Lee's here. Smudger, how you doing? Ian, lights out. Just saw Ian in the NFL pre-game show with Sean and Ryan. Callum's joined us as well. And Joe Dollar. Joe was first in the chat as well. So welcome. If you do get in the chat, by all means, say hello. It's been a funny old weekend of football. Picks. Obviously, I watched Newcastle get absolutely spanked yesterday. But that was kind of offset a little bit by Man United getting humped and Arsenal not winning. The pain of Newcastle losing was greatly eased by that. And the fact Newcastle got absolutely battered makes it a little bit better rather than losing in the last minute, do you know? Because I felt like at no point the writing was on the wall after 3 minutes in that game. They scored after 5 minutes and could have been 3-0 up. So by the time the game finished, I thoroughly had time to mourn the defeat. So I was all right. And sometimes you just do get absolutely battered. But I'm going to start, Baz, with, before we get into this, I need to tell people about one of my favourite ever winning bets from Friday night. Not because I won a fortune, because I didn't. It was just £10 at 4-1, Barry. That's all it was. But this goes, I reckon, straight to the top of, because how I won it and who it was involved. And I did message you and I put it on the Twitter page. It was Burnley v Sunderland on Friday. So we're sitting, the whole family are sitting, we're watching the Traitors. Baz, we're catching up with the Traitors. Watched a couple of back-to-back episodes with the Chinese. And I put Burnley Sunderland on the laptop to keep an eye on the Mackems. £10 on both keeper to make 3 saves at 4-1. Sunderland keeper got there early. 2 saves in the first half, 1 save 52nd minute. So he's done. the Sunderland keeper. But Sunderland couldn't get a shot on target. They played quite well, went clean through, put one past the post. No shots on target until the 78th minute. Kid like minges one at the goalie from 20 yards out, who just has to pick it up. But that's one save. And then Sunderland get a penalty in the 87th minute. Bloke misses the penalty, keeper saves it. So I'm on 2 saves and also a punch in the air because Sunderland haven't scored a late winner. Sunderland then get another penalty in the 94th minute. Same thing happens. The keeper saves it again. So they're trying to watch the trainers. I'm in absolute uproar in the middle of the lounge, punch in the air. So the last 2 saves that won me the 50 quid were 2 penalty saves by the Burnley keeper, James Trafford against Sunderland. So I very much enjoyed that, Baz. All-time great feeling that. I can't remember winning a bet like that for ages.
Yeah, it was lovely that you messaged me. I hadn't even realised there was any football on Friday, so I missed it all, to be honest. But I did enjoy watching it back.
Lee's asking Joe if he can bet on how many times a player catches the ball in the NFL. Because if you could have that bet on Joe and Arna in the Man United game, you'd have under half every week. That's a nice bit of satire, that, Lee. Very good. Picks-wise, Baz, we did all right. I mean, it was a weird one. I think I didn't expect... Well, I did expect the things to happen that happened because we did really well between us. I went 6 for 9. It was all different types of winning picks as well, Baz. We're 9 games down. I've had 6 winners, returning 14.5 units. But we've won different types of picks between us. We've won different picks on the same game between us. But Saturday I went 4 for 5, was lovely. The Liverpool goals was the only one that let me down. Bournemouth double chance, Palace draw no bet, Fulham to win, Arsenal corners. So all different types of picks there. And then today, Everton as an underdog. I completed the game. I cracked level 10. Everton as an underdog. Brighton as an underdog, which was just free money. Why do the bookies just give away £36 notes every week on Man United? It's like, how many of these £36 notes do you want? If you put a tenner on, you're going to win £36 every week. How many do you want? You can have as many as you like, because next week it'll be the same. It's ridiculous. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, remember, no games in 16. Dr. Tottenham will see you now. Dominic Calvert-Lewin turned into prime Lewandowski for 30 seconds, beat 3 men and rolled one into the corner, but and I mean, who knew that sometimes it just takes one man to come into a football club, to breathe a breath of fresh air into that football club, to give that football club new life. And for Everton, it was Ange Postecoglou. Who would have thought that would have happened, Barry? So big well done to Ange there, giving Everton a little boost. So I was over the moon with my picks, Bas. I know you put a little highlight reel out earlier on, a highlight reel out on Twitter, because you had all sorts as well, didn't you?
Yeah, and if you look very closely at that highlight reel, you can see me shaking my head as you put out your Everton pick and your Dominic Calvert-Lewin pick. I was in absolute dismay. So as Joe Dollar has said in the chat, the DCL pick was definitely the arse sniffer of the week.
Thank you very much.
As you see, all around, overall between us, we've done really well. The highlight for me was putting Brighton out as my underdog of the week, 12-5. I took Brighton team total, 6-4. Fading Arsenal. I'm quite happy to keep doing that for the time being. 6-4. Bigger than that. It was 13-8 Villa to get something against Arsenal. And even City, a pick that I hated. It was City score both halves. Could have had them to score 2 both halves. They went absolutely rampant today. Fulham win was a fairly straightforward one. We were both quite happy with that. And the ladder got 2 steps up. We started at over 10.5 corners. The next step was over 12.5 corners in the Newcastle-Bournemouth game. Finished off on 13. Felt like there could have been more. But we got there again. We creeped up a little, which is all that matters. So picks-wise, yeah, some good stuff. And we still got a game to come tomorrow. I still give Wolves a chance against Chelsea tomorrow.
Yeah, we can get myself up above 15 units. Right, Baz. I'm going to read this advert out. And if you get your finger ready over the button to save this 4 seconds of dead air, right, we're going to absolutely crack this like the young broadcasting professionals we are. Do you think you can do that?
Well, this is the only one way to find out, isn't there?
A minute ago, won't we? Right. Hold on to your hats, people. DraftKings are all over the NFL playoffs. We are live watching, as we said earlier on. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook. an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You can score big by betting on touchdowns. The number one place, 4 touchdowns is DraftKings. The lines we like tonight, we've got the Bills and the Ravens later on, so Joe Dollar's given us the winning picks, which is Dalton Kincaid over on the receiving yards and rushing attempts from both quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. So get over to DraftKings. You can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Fucked that up, Baz, didn't you?
I was too busy looking at stuff on my phone. I just switch off when you start talking.
You got distracted by your phone in the 12 seconds.
I got reeled in by the silence.
Asking you to do something and you having to do it. You got distracted by your phone.
As soon as we got to the silence, I thought, oh, something's up here. And then I remembered again.
Right, well, we'll have another go at that on Thursday. Do you know what I mean? You're going to just keep trying, Barry. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Eye catchers, Baz. We've got a little bit of time to go over those. I wrote down Bournemouth. You had to. They were absolutely outstanding from the very, very start. The only thing I'm going to say is, I want to be slightly churlish because that's what people expect. They were brilliant. They've got some very, very good players. They played a great way. They've got a lot of likeable players, actually. Brooks was good. I thought the 2 centre-backs were great. Semenyo is an absolute creature, by the way. I didn't realise how big he was until, with about 20 minutes left, we brought Trippier on to try and... Trippier came on at right back, and that was kind of in the corner where I sit. And he was literally twice the size of Trippier. Trippier tried to, shoulder him off the ball once, and he just bodied him, Obviously, hat-trick Clivert, copyright, looked quite lively. But the only thing I'm going to say about Bournemouth is it's just a shame it's not a proper football club. Do you know what I mean? It's a shame it's Bournemouth who are doing that because no one gives a fuck. If it was, for example, Leeds United or Coventry City, West Brom, you can name loads of football clubs that you wouldn't mind that being them sitting in 6th in the league or whatever because it would be great. It just feels a bit of a waste of everyone's time that it's Bournemouth. But yeah, they were good, and the manager will crack on a little bit from there. Did you have much on the Newcastle-Bournemouth game?
No, I think exactly like you. From 5 minutes into that game, I knew it wasn't going to happen for us. You could just tell. It had all the shades of the Brentford defeat for Newcastle when we went away to them, and they absolutely battered us. It had the same feel about it. The tactics were perfect. They absolutely nailed us. Their press was really good, forced us into mistakes for the second and third goals. And I think we didn't really learn from it. Disappointing things, we didn't really adjust. I think we should have probably stopped playing out from the back because they did sort of seem to have us in that position over and over again. But yeah, it was one of them where you just think, take it on the chin. It's, it wasn't our day. Bournemouth were very good. And all good runs have to come to an end at some point. Disappointing, though, again, with teams like Villa, Arsenal, dropping points up around the top of the league. But it is what it is. We'll bounce back next week.
I think if you stuck that one defeat in the middle of 5 wins before it and 4 wins after it,
exactly,
you know what I mean? But it's the way of the modern knee-jerk reaction to everything that all of a sudden we're dog shit again. And obviously, Elliot Anderson scored, and then Yakuba Minte both scored within 5 minutes of each other this afternoon. And everyone was wetting their knickers again about why Newcastle should have sold them. I was like, Matt Ritchie scored for Portsmouth as well yesterday. Should we have him back? Idiots. Yeah, Bournemouth. I mean, the others really, the teams that are going to make the news, I think, the most this weekend are Everton, Tottenham, and Man United. But I didn't really learn anything about any of them because Everton, you can't really count what happened today because it was against Tottenham. If it happens against Tottenham or Southampton, it doesn't count. So that means absolutely fuck all. Tottenham are just ridiculous. And Man United, we learned absolutely nothing other than the bookies are going to give you a £36 note every time you bet against them. So I didn't really pick up much on any of them, other than I was quite entertained by all of that this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Everton won't get that much news because it's always the bad news that gets talked about. So Ange Postecoglou is suddenly under pressure. I'm not sure if they might give him till the second leg because he got off to a good start in the first leg of the AFL Cup. Maybe they'll give him a chance to get them through to a final because he always wins a trophy in his second season. But they were very poor. I mean, conceding 3 goals to Everton should probably be a criminal offence. Like, someone at Spurs should have to be brought in to make a statement.
Half of football as well. Like,
yeah.
It's not even like they got the third one on the break when Tottenham were chasing it. It was 3-0 at half time. That must have been 1,000 to 1. Like,
someone should have to come in and make a statement under oath about that to explain what happened, because that's criminal. Shouldn't be allowed. But it doesn't come as any surprise, despite the fact I stupidly took Spurs. No surprise. Ange was his usual salty self once again. I seen, and then the Man United game again. Absolutely no surprise. I've already had a look. You can get nearly 6-4 for Fulham at home to Man United next week.
Jesus,
get on early because that'll crumble surely. I seen Amarim again repeating the same messages. Said it's the worst Man United team in history. The fans need to accept that. The players are going to suffer. The fans are going to suffer. It's all for the greater good. He just doesn't give a fuck, does he? He's just like, look, this is it. And he repeated again and again, I will not change. You're just going to have to put up with it. And I keep saying, I don't know how long. He doesn't give any indication of how long they're going to suffer for. Does he think this will take them 18 months? Does he think they'll be all right in 3 or 4 weeks? I'm not sure how long Man United fans can suffer this, but it remains to be seen. It's all for the greater good. So, we'll get there. But, yeah, bold statement. Say this is the worst team in Man United history. I assume he probably means Premier League history, which is all that counts these days, isn't it? In which case, he's probably right.
I'm perfectly prepared for them to. I'm perfectly prepared to suffer through it, Barry, for as long as it takes. And the other thing I wanted to mention was just an extension of a point you made 2 or 3 shows again. Was that the competitiveness of this league? We've said it. We've seen it again this weekend. That middle glob of teams, probably even down to 15th now. Fulham, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Brighton, all teams that won this afternoon. Villa, who went away and done Arsenal in again. Brentford were unlucky, put up a right good performance against Liverpool, right down to the death. Because these teams now will go and give you a game. They play with no fear. And that's different to even 5 or 6 years ago when that middle glob of teams was Newcastle under Bruce or Benitez, where we just didn't try half the time. We just went and shit our pants and tried to get 2 0-0 draws a season away from home. Everton were always like that. They're still like that now. But Crystal Palace were always like that. Burnley were another team under Dyche. Like Lille, remember, they were like that. West Brom and Wolves were always in that thing. Wolves used to do the same. Forest a little bit. And it's just not like that anymore at all. These young managers have come in and just play with no fear and go toe-to-toe. And very occasionally will get humped. But very occasionally will pick up points. And this weekend was a great example of that. Like I say, Fulham away from home, Bournemouth away from home, Brighton away from home, Brentford.
But even not even necessarily just the teams that won, no, Malcolm, because what has worked well recently is fading teams like Chelsea. You're getting the double chance. You're getting teams against Chelsea's and Arsenal's to even pick up a draw, and you're getting them at plus money every week.
Yeah.
Villa had no right to be as big as 6-1 for me this week, and similarly Wolves tomorrow have no right to be quite as big as that in terms of what we're seeing in recent weeks from the teams.
Just taking Bournemouth back to back at 5-4 plus 125 on the double chance market. Back to back games away at Chelsea, away at Newcastle, and cashed relatively easily. They were unlucky not to win at Chelsea, and then you get them with 5-4, and they go and hump Newcastle 4-1. Like you'd back that every day of the week, Baz. And it does feel like the books still are just hanging numbers next to names. Like Tottenham and Man United are absolute cash cows at the minute. Because if you get any team approaching Everton today 2-1 and Brighton 13-5, you just have to back them. Unless it was Southampton. I think I don't know, maybe I might even have a go at Leicester, but that would be it. Like anyone can get stuck in, Baz, but the books just seem to hang the number next to the team name.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to get rid of the term the Big Six, isn't it? Because those two teams have no right to be in that conversation at the moment. We've missed obviously the big highlight, the moment everybody's been waiting for weeks and weeks, was the reintroduction of the slow roller, Malcolm. £10.
Rolling. Oh, keep rolling. So I'll do the theme tune, that's good.
£10 comfortably converted into £14. And you'll have to hang on till the end of this episode to find out how we turn that into £19.60 by the end of this week.
Shit. I know the comments on YouTube, Baz, were absolutely all over the slow roller again. People were buzzing. Cree loves the slow roller. Cree's in the chat. Cree, how you doing? Right, okay. Well, I think I'm done with Premier League chat, Baz. You got anything else to add before we go on and make some picks?
I'm ready to go make some picks now. Like, how many have you got?
4.
That's good. I've got 4 also. Do you know what days they're on this week, or is that not important to you?
I think I've done them sequentially because I was a little bit hungover, remember? So I just went down the list today and wrote any old shit down. So I've got 4, but I think they're in order. So, however, Barry, do you want to see if you can sync one of my Armada here, Baz? Do you want a little go?
Yeah.
Come on then.
Is it me first?
Yeah. Remember, I'm operating the 2 Jota system now, Baz. Right, so go.
Right, where are we going to go? I'm going to go for C9.
Miss. Shite that.
What are you?
I'm going to go F, no, E, F, G, H. That's an I. I can't even go right. I, 3.
Miss.
Bollocks. Ooh, back to back. Back to back misses here in the battleships. Very good. Right. Champions League picks coming up once we've talked about. You've got no buttons to press here, Baz. Underdog Pick'em. Got one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog Pick'em. Making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme Pick'ems, NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR. Specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Our code is PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer. Up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code PLGP. Right, so I was going to give actually just a little update on where we are with the Champions League here, Baz. Because we're going into match day 7. Nobody understands what's going on at all. We're going into match day 7 of 8. With the big old mad league table where the top 8 qualify automatically. 9th to 24th going to the playoffs. 25th and below are toasted. So this week there are games on Tuesday and Wednesday like normal. Next week, everybody plays at the same time. So there's no shenanigans. So it's going to be absolute mayhem. Next week's, I think we have to, Baz, go to the bookies and get a great big paper slip that you can sit on your table in front of you and check shit off. You need a 14-incher. Like to check off next week, Barry, when that Champions League's going off. We might have to get the tape measures out next week. We'll set the challenge to everyone in the comments to go and get yourself a 14-incher from the bookies, and we'll get them all out and compare them when we get back. So we're going to start with. I've got Barry. Oh, I'm early. I'm the early kickoff on Tuesday, so you can't possibly be any earlier than that. The game I'm looking at here is Monaco against Aston Villa. Monaco are 15-13 plus 135. The draw is 5-2 plus 250. And Aston Villa are 9-5 plus 180. Monaco have dropped off a little bit. In Ligue 1 at home, they've only They haven't got a win in 4. And they did lose the last 2 Champions League games. The last 2 rounds of the Champions League were the back end in November and the first week in December. So a little while ago. But Monaco started okay, but they have actually dropped off, like I say, in both competitions. Villa are sitting in 5th in this Champions League format. They started well, then had a bit of a wobble, but they got a really good win last time out in Leipzig, away from home. They got a good draw in Arsenal at the weekend, Villa. And I think the form line is all right for me to want to take Villa here. I've got 3 French teams, actually, that I've handicapped tonight. And there's a couple that I fancy, a couple that I don't. And it largely hinges on the prices because the form line in France is really hard to trust. But like I say, Monaco just have underwhelmed slightly. And I think Villa have been okay. Villa are worth a punt here at an underdog price. So I'm going to take Villa at 9-5 plus 180.
Nice. I haven't got that one, but I have got a Tuesday night game. So my first pick comes from the Bologna v Borussia Dortmund game, which is 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. Bologna are 5-2 plus 250. Borussia Dortmund even money plus 100, and the draw 5-2 plus 250. Also, Bologna have found this a struggle. No wins in this competition, just 2 points, and they've scored only 1 goal in their 6 games so far. Dortmund, on the other hand, 4 wins, pushing for a top 8 spot. One of the highest scorers in the competition with 18 goals. Now, the concern for Dortmund will be their recent league form. Since Christmas, they've lost 3 of 3 since coming back. I think they've scored 5 goals in those 3 games as well and still managed to lose them all by conceding 9. Their 4 wins in this competition did all come against lesser opposition. Zagreb, Sturm Graz, Celtic and Bruges are the teams they've beaten. But even in their 2 defeats, they lost to Barca, they lost to Real Madrid, but they scored 2 goals in each of those. So 5 of their 6 games, they've scored 2 or more goals in this competition. So I like Dortmund for goals. Bologna haven't conceded tons. They've only conceded 7 in the competition, but they've had 2 0-0s in there. Villa, Liverpool and Lille all put 2 past them. Dortmund are full of goals. Whatever competition you're talking about, Dortmund are full of goals. And they're a nice price here. It's even money for Dortmund to win the game. I don't mind that, but I like the Dortmund team total, 5-6. So I'm going for Dortmund over 1.5 team total at 5-6.
I actually looked at this game, Baz, because I thought I wanted to pick Dortmund because not being hugely impressed with Bologna. That the form in Italy is, I said I've taken 3 games involving French teams tonight because I just wanted to swerve that Italian form. There's like Juventus are sitting up there. Juventus are unbeaten but have drawn 1 million games. I think they've drawn 12. Bologna have drawn 9 games, and it was just a really hard way to get into it. You found a nice angle in there, Baz, but I did look at this game for about 10 minutes before I decided just to put it away and go elsewhere because it was quite tricky. But I think you found the right angle because Dortmund are better in this competition and do score goals. I've got a late kickoff here on Tuesday, one of the 8 o'clock kickoffs, the 3 p.m. Eastern time starts, and this will surprise nobody to know that I have gone to the game between Slovan Bratislava and Stuttgart, where Bratislava are 8-1. The draw is 21-4, plus 525. And Stuttgart are very short. They're 7-26, minus 370. And this has just been a system play all the way through the Champions League against Bratislava. And I think it started because I accidentally watched them in one of the early kickoffs. They played Dinamo, I think, and they're just absolutely wide open. They've conceded in the 6 games so far. They've got no points. They've lost all 6. And Feyenoord, the defence has been profitable. They've conceded 3-3-4, 2-4 and 5. Stuttgart aren't actually great. They're outside the playoff spots at the minute. But with a win, and this is a great chance to win, this will put them back in to that middle glob of teams. So they're going to go for it. They did score 5 last time against Young Boys, which is a good comparison for this. Young Boys are down in that pointless area with Slovan Bratislava. So they have proved that they can put bad teams to the sword here. They're fourth in the Bundesliga. They've won 5 of the last 6. They're in better form. I'm going to go with total goals rather than Stuttgart goals, because Slovan Bratislava always do seem to stick one in. They're quite lightning fast on the break. It seems like that's what they want to do. They're quite happy losing 4-1 as long as they can have some fun on the break. Over 3.5 total is even money, Baz. Stuttgart can win this 3-1, I reckon.
Yeah, but I haven't got anything else for Tuesday. Have you got any Tuesday games left?
I do have another Tuesday game. If you want me to do that, then you can go back and back on Wednesday.
You can fire that one in.
I look at Liverpool, Baz. Liverpool 1-3, minus 300. Taking on Lille, who are 17-2 plus 850, with the draw 17-4 plus 425. We just finished talking about teams like Arsenal at 1-3 against half-decent sides and really a little bit too short. And I don't think Liverpool are in good enough form to be 1-3 shots here. So I wanted to take them on. Lille have been good. They're unbeaten in France. Just mentioned the strength or weakness of the domestic form in France. But they're unbeaten in France since September the 13th. They've got lots of draws, but they're really, really tough to beat. They've drawn 5 of the 9 away games. In the Champions League, they've won 4 of 6, including away wins at Atletico Madrid and at Bologna, who we just talked about. Liverpool only need a point to be to guarantee. Is it guarantee top spot or guarantee qualification, one or the other? And I think they might just have to settle for a point here, because Liverpool haven't been great. They got away with it again. I mean, who would have thought my mate Darwin would do the business twice in injury time at the weekend? And Liverpool have been scuffling. The double chance price for Lille is a nice price. 12-5 plus 240. I'm going to give Lille a little squeaky here, Baz.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I agree with you. Liverpool just on at their best at the moment. Fortunate, really, to come away with a win with those late goals yesterday. We didn't mention that game. How did Darwin Núñez not get sent off after scoring the 2 goals, which would have been absolutely ridiculous, given that he'd just come on and won the game? Well, he scored his first goal. He takes his shirt off, gets a yellow card, fair enough. And then he scores his second goal. And then in the 95th minute at 2-0 up, he just goes flying in, studs up, and takes someone out at the ankle in the opposition box. Free kick, no yellow card. It was a yellow card all day. It was close to a straight red, to be honest. But it was typical of Núñez and his absolute craziness, because there was no need for it at 2-0 up. Absolutely insane. But it was bang. How he didn't get a second yellow, I will never know. It must have just been like, oh, it's just Darwin, it doesn't matter. But anyway, that was a bit of a random one, yeah. But I don't mind fading Liverpool there. My next one then comes from Wednesday, and I've gone to the Celtic game first of all. Celtic against Young Boys. Celtic are 1-3, which is minus 300. The draw is 4-1 plus 400, and Young Boys 15-2 plus 750. Celtic have given them every chance of qualifying here, courtesy of what I think's been a very friendly schedule for them. They've only lost against Dortmund, lost once in the 6 games, only won 2, so 3 draws, but the 2 wins came at home by more than a single goal against Leipzig and Slovan Bratislava. Those 2 are second bottom and third bottom in the table. Now, Young Boys are sat right at the very bottom. So they've now, played the 3 bottom teams in this competition, which shows you the schedule's been very kind to them. But it also tells you that they've dealt well with the lesser sides at home in particular. So Young Boys are coming here, lost all 6 games by a combined margin of 19 goals. They've lost 4 times in this by 3 goals or more already. So I just feel quite confident in Celtic here. A win would potentially seal their qualification as well. They've won the 2 home games against similar opposition by 2 or more, and I'm happy to take them to do it again. I'm going to take Celtic on a handicap here, minus 1.5 at evens.
Don't mind that at all, Baz. Just when you mentioned Celtic, then it reminded me that I wanted to talk about Rangers, because Rangers go to Old Trafford on Thursday. Do you want to have a guess at what price Rangers are to turn over Man United, Baz, on Thursday in the Europa League?
I had forgot about that one, to be honest. I went straight to the Premier League to see
I did tell you
Man United's next opponent were. I'm going to take a guess at Rangers being around about 3-1, 7-2.
7-1, Barry. You're fucking miles away. Fill your boots. Not only the bookies must have run out of £36 notes because they've decided to hand out £70 notes this week. You get other Rangers double chance, wouldn't you? Like, I mean just
you
get
could
involved.
you could probably get Rangers plus 1.5 on the handicap
Yeah.
at a sensible price as well, or just Rangers to score a couple of goals. Anyone can score a couple
The
against
Rangers
them.
did duff up Fraserburgh in the Scottish Cup today, 5-0. So similar compass, let's be honest. If we're looking at comparison games, Man United and Fraserburgh wouldn't be a unfair comparison. Michael's asking us about the Barcelona game. Now, I didn't look at. I looked at it because we just talked a little bit about just hanging numbers next to team names. So I was going down the list, and Barcelona are even money, or just like minus 105. Barcelona caught my eye. I thought, oh, they're a big price. And then I looked at it, and I just wasn't convinced. Like the form's just a little bit too patchy to take them away from home against Benfica, who haven't been terrible. So I looked at the game, Michael. But I wasn't brave enough to. I was initially drawn to Barcelona, but after I looked at it, I wasn't hugely keen. So that's why we've ended up going elsewhere. Baz, you want to go again on Wednesday?
Yes. Where are we? Next up for me is Feyenoord against Bayern Munich. Feyenoord, where I am trying to scroll to my notes because I was thinking it was going to be you next. Yeah, so I came to this one basically because Feyenoord games have been absolutely bonkers in terms of goals. And a game against Bayern seems unlikely to change that. 29 goals we've seen in 6 games for Feyenoord so far. They've scored 14, conceded 15. Every one of their games has went over 3.5 goals. City, Salzburg, Leverkusen have all managed to put at least 3 past them in the competition so far. Now, Bayern haven't been full of goals generally in this competition. They've just capitalised against the lesser sides by putting 9 past Celtic, wasn't it? 5 past Shakhtar. So against the lesser sides, they have ran up a score. They've been scoring plenty in the league, 18 in the last 6 games for Bayern. There's 2 options here. Bayern team total over 2.5 at 5-6. I don't mind. Or we'll just take the match total. Feyenoord has scored 3 or more in 4 of their games so far, and that included games against Benfica and Man City. They put 3 up against both of them, so I wouldn't rule out Bayern getting on the Feyenoord getting on the score sheet. So I'm quite happy to take the over 3.5 goals here. As I say, it's hitting every game for Feyenoord so far, 6 out of 6. So yeah, Feyenoord v Bayern over 3.5 match total at even money.
Okay, I'm going to move across to Wednesday. I've got one pick for Wednesday night. It is one of the 8 o'clock kickoffs, and it is Paris Saint-Germain against Manchester City, where PSG are the 7-5 plus 140 favourites. The draw is 27-10 plus 270, and Manchester City are 17-10 plus 170. PSG. They're in good form at home, but that's not a good barometer, as discussed with the French form. You have to look at the Champions League form to get a good read on how you feel about this game. And it's just not good. They've won twice against bad teams. They drew against PSV, and they've lost 3 very comparable games to this one. They lost to Arsenal, they lost to Atletico Madrid, they lost to Bayern Munich. And Manchester City, they're not out the woods yet by any means, but a 6-0 win today isn't going to do them any harm. They've been much, much better lately. They look a little bit healthier. Ruben Diaz came back today, who's important. They kept another clean sheet. And they do need the win because they're not in a safe position yet either, so they need the points. I think here, we're clearly getting the better team in Manchester City. And at an underdog price, I think that's really attractive. Hopefully, they don't go back to their old ways. I'm putting some faith in them in Man City because 2 months ago, There's no way they would have been this price at all. And PSG constantly underwhelming this competition, constantly. They're just not top class. They're not. Man City underdogs, 17-10 plus 170, Baz.
Nice. I've got the same game. Before I go into it, I should say in my last handicap of Bayern, I did say they put 9 past Celtic. That wasn't true. They put 9 past Zagreb. It was Dortmund who duffed Celtic up on it. They put 7 past Celtic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got that mixed up. Yeah, I've gone to the same game. Massive game for the two. City hanging on in 22nd place. PSG currently out of qualifying in 25th place. PSG, you've mentioned earlier, I mean, they're going well in Ligue 1, but how much do you factor in coming into this? Not a lot, really. And the other thing that stood out, they've won 4 in a row in the league form, but they did concede in every one of them. Over 2.5 in both teams to score has hit in their last 4 as well. And they've actually, PSG, obviously, they've underwhelmed in terms of results, but they have had a really tough schedule. I mentioned earlier how I thought Celtic had a really favourable run. PSG have faced Bayern, Atletico, and Arsenal, and now Man City. So it is a really, really tricky schedule. We know City are nowhere near the best, but there have been some sort of signs of them finding their way in front of goal recently. They've already scored 13 in this competition as well. And even in their poor recent form, they've not failed to score in the last 9 in the league, City. And they've just scored 14 in the last 4. I know that's skewed massively by this sort of the big score today, but they are scoring. I just can't see either of these teams playing safe. They both need a win. PSG aren't keeping clean sheets. Therefore, I like the City team total. Could easily be goals at both ends, but the over 2.5 goals is 4-7, and you can get 11-10 for City to score 2 of them. So the pick for me is the City team total plus money for City to score 2 goals. Looks massive. So yeah, Man City over 1.5 team total at 11-10 for me.
That absolutely is the arse sniffer of the week, Baz, because I looked at the prices and just wanted Man City. Phil Foden's back in form, scoring goals, playing well. Absolutely massive. Masses for them, making a huge difference. After about 3 weeks ago, you took the piss out of him, so it sounds like single-handedly you fixed his season there. So I think that's it. Baz, that's me done. Have you got anything you want to talk about before we let the people go?
It's not quite it, is it? We've got to keep rolling.
Shit, hang on. Keep rolling. On, keep rolling on. Rolling biscuit with the rainbow. There you go, theme tune.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to roll on with a very similar pick to this weekend. We took an over 1.5 double with Man United and Newcastle games doing the business. This week, we are going for Wednesday night, PSG v City, over 1.5 goals. Leipzig v Sporting, over 1.5 goals. Leipzig may well have given up. They can't qualify now. I think Sporting will get a couple themselves. So the double, over 1.5 double. PSG v City, Leipzig v Sporting, over 1.5 double at about 2-5. The £14 is being rolled up and will return £19.60 should this win. And then we'll fire into the weekend action with the next bet.
Good. Well done, Barry. I think you're one pick away from eclipsing my world record in the slow roller, which on one occasion made it rolled over twice, and that was that. Very good. Right then. Premier League weekend. We've got another game, actually, Chelsea Wolves on Monday night. My pick in that one was Wolves on the handicap at even money. I think you factored Wolves in there as well, didn't you, Baz? Do you remember what your pick was?
So Wolves double chance. Oh no, I didn't actually. I did like Wolves double chance. I ended up going for the both teams to score and over 2.5. I gave Wolves a go.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't mind your pick of them on the handicap as well.
And then next weekend we've got 6 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday. So I reckon we'll be back on Thursday night with the Premier League pick show. Do us a favour, rate, review, thumbs up, etc. Especially on the back of a good Premier League weekend where we gave lots of winners out. Baz, appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a massive bath and watch the rest of the NFL tonight. See if I can make a few quid as well. Right. Good luck, everybody, with your picks. Enjoy the Champions League. and we will see you all down the road. Cheers.